What's up, exploring the blockchain? Quick message from our sponsor, Nitro Betting. Nitro Betting is a top Bitcoin and crypto betting site that allows you to place bets in casino games, sports books, racing, gaming, you name it. It's your money. You should be able to have fun with it too, outside of traditional investing. So check out all the action at nitrobetting.eu. All links are in the description below. Enjoy the episode, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of BlockHash Exploring the Blockchain, episode 366. Today, we will be talking with the CEO and Chief Partnership Officer for Bump, Austin and Seth, here on the show today. What they're building in terms of a search engine, essentially, and what that's going to incorporate and what they're rolling out. Guys, welcome to the show. Super happy to have you here and to speak with you today. How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Likewise. Before we jump in to talk about Bump, tell me a little bit about yourselves, each of you. What's your story, your background? How did you kind of wind up within the Web3 industry and working on Bump?
Yeah, no, happy to give you a quick background. So, my path was actually very untraditional. My degree was not in tech related stuff. It was in supply chain, strategic management, marketing. I dove into the food space because that was the boring space where no one was, where there was no competition. And the only, people that were there were the really old farts, right? That, everything's been done the same for the last 100 years. Very similar to kind of Mr. Beast and his view on chocolate, right? So I built a peanut butter brand, grew it nationally, sold it to the largest peanut manufacturer in the U.S., Hampton Farms. Now it's under their, brand and label and whatnot. But throughout that whole process, I've been a Web3 nerd. Always have been, always will be. I've been into all this type of stuff since before it was kind of a popular thing. And I was a kid in the basement researching and looking. For me, I was like, okay, how do I get into this space? I've always followed, what I'm passionate about, what I enjoy, what I have fun with. So I said, all right, let's start looking around and see. So, I really wanted to see what the opportunity was, and in particular, how do we solve the problem for the masses? And really looking at Web3. Web3 did a lot of really good things. One thing it did not do is onboarding masses. So, we went and said, okay, how do we look at this and how do we adjust this? So I worked at Gutter Labs, which is Gutter Cat Gang. It was an NFT project, helped grow that into, what it was, and it was top trading volume on OpenSea multiple times. From there, went and worked at Paradigm Sports. They represent Conor McGregor, a bunch of other really big, MMA, soccer athletes, other, athletes, and kind of looked at their Web3 stuff as well as, some of their regular sponsorships and how we want to, utilize their talent within the space. And, through both of those experiences, I really learned and saw exactly what I view the problem is, and what's out there and the huge opportunity to make Web3 really push forward into the next generation of internet users. For me, it was how do we solve search? How do we solve community? And having more control over your data. Now, there's a whole bunch of routes we can take and get into that. But, in the grand scheme, that's kind of where we got the idea with on Bump and said, hey, let's just go and solve these things. But that's high level background of me and what I'm here and what I do.
Awesome. Seth, what about you?
Yeah, so my background is a little bit different. I started off in finance, actually. So I worked in corporate investment banking for 5 years. Similar to Austin, I got interested in crypto around 2017. It was kind of more like a hobby. One of my friends introduced me to it. I was super interested in what Ethereum was specifically. And then in 2020, COVID happened and everything. I got a little bit more involved in the innovation and what was happening in this space. So early 2021, I decided to leave banking and work for a tokenization platform. So we were working on tokenizing real world assets and putting them on blockchains. The the concept right now is getting a little bit more steam than it was back when I started. That platform, we were getting attention from fund managers and people that were interested in raising capital on blockchain, but the users and the investors were a little bit slower to embracing that aspect. So I did a few other things while I was working on that tokenization platform. I worked for an incubation platform in Africa. We focused mainly on fintechs in Africa out of Nigeria. I also worked on a farmland investment platform for a little while too. And then I actually met up with Austin at Paradigm Sports, where we're working on the Web3 initiative for the athletes like that Austin mentioned, like Conor McGregor and Israel Adesanya. And then about 6 months ago, Austin hit me up about Bump and what he was building there. So I decided to join the team, and here we are.
I had to poach him.
Awesome, guys. I think it's very fascinating what you guys are building here with Bump. You know, search is something that's kind of, I feel, archaic with the internet. It's old. It's something that's been around for a long time, and Google has really dominated. And it's changed a lot over the years. Like we kind of mentioned before, hopping on the recording, they drive so many different recommendations and videos, sponsored content, things that are curated based on data that they take from you, whether you like it or not, as well as products and services being sold. And there's like a lot of noise. It's not like a true, I search this because I want to know something, want to find something. It's the first thing that pops up. You get all this clutter. There's a lot of concerns with data privacy these days and everything under that umbrella. So I love what you guys are tackling with Bump because I think it's, you know, very unique. So is that primarily the type of stuff you guys are solving, or what overall are you trying to build into it?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's kind of ironic. I mean, you know, a search engine is not a simple thing to build, right? It just isn't. But in premise, our mission is simple, and that is we are searching community for users and creators. We are 100% designed around you, the user, right? And so, you know, we said, okay, Google made $460 billion last year. You know, I as a Google user didn't get any kickback from that. And I'm not, you know, asking for crazy money or anything, but, you know, you're essentially taking all my data. You know, you can call it exploiting my data or whatever you want with a, you know, 2,000 page terms and conditions and all these weird hidden things within it. But, you know, I sat there and said, okay, how do we go to a user and say, listen, we can provide you a really good search engine with really unique features, right? With blockchain features, with AI features, you know, with community integration features coming, you know, later down the road. But in the core, a really good, accurate search engine. No doubt Google's, you know, search API is the best. We understand that. You know, there's 20 years of indexing, everything that's gone into that. Now AI is filling in that gap drastically and bringing that all very together quickly. But, you know, we're looking at it and saying, all right, how do we go and take this and build something for community, for users that's super simple? They know right away whether they're browsing there privately or whether they're getting paid and tracked, right? And then instead of, you know, having these, you know, 2,000 page terms and conditions and these bots that sneakily track you, we're going to just straight up ask you, I want to know, what's your income level? What's your favorite color? What t-shirt size do you wear? I'm going to ask you all these data questions. You can answer as much or as little as you want. Obviously, the more you answer, the more your data is worth. You know, the more money you can get from, you know, data brokers or these, you know, big data buyers that are buying, you know, mass amounts of data. But I want to ask those questions. You tell me what you're comfortable answering. You know, you go ahead and answer that. And then we'll work to go and try to sell it every single month for you and then be able to kick money back to you. On the flip side, you can, you know, browse privately and not have us track you, you know, just like you would on Brave or DuckDuckGo. You know, some of the other ones that are out there, while they're not as, you know, accurate, it's definitely an option. But, you know, we still offer some of those core main features, but we're really giving the user complete control of their digital experience, right? So that's really important. You know, when you go on, you should be able to say, all right, if I'm going to be tracked and searched, I want a kickback, whether it's $5 or $100 a month. Obviously your ranges and swings are huge. As we get more mass users, our goal is to be, second, if not one, to Google in terms of user base, right? We want to have hundreds of millions of users, billions of users. And, when we get to those types of scale and masses and scale, the amount of money we should be able to kick back would be massive. Obviously, to start, it's obviously smaller amounts, right? But, that's our end goal. And, that solves that search, right? It gives users the power to have their digital, search kind of controlled. And, if they're trying to Google a gift for their spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, they can actually Google it privately on our search engine, right? And instead of Google, bump it. But, they can search it on our search engine and know that it's not going to show up as an ad on, their boyfriend's or girlfriend's feed. I mean, borderline, you can figure out and know what you're getting for Christmas just based off of what is being, pushed onto your feed. And you're like, oh, okay, my girlfriend must have been looking at this or whatever, right? So it's really interesting from that perspective. In terms of social, we're trying to push, a platform that, isn't going to gate you, isn't going to handcuff you. Right now, every YouTuber goes to bed at night, thinking, am I going to wake up and be demonetized? Is my wife and my livelihood going to be over? With our platform, you have complete control of your community. You have access to your community, whether you're on our platform or not. If they are following you, you have total control. So there is no more demonetization or handcuffing you to a platform. We're there to change the game completely. And, I always tell people we're going to be kind of like YouTube, TikTok, and Ticketmaster combined, giving creators complete control over what they want to do, how their experience is. Likewise with users, being able to really interact with their creators in a completely different way, whole new level that we've never seen before. And having both of these platforms talk to each other with search and being able to see what users are, looking at and what their interests are, to allow creators to have really good insights into being able to say, oh, okay, maybe I should be talking about this or do videos on this and, do these different things that we think would be really interesting. But, when it really comes down to it, our goal is to solve searching community. You can monetize your data. You can browse the web privately, or have complete control of your social life. That's, online. And it's really simple. We're hyper focused on our user. That's what we care about. We're not focused on our, shareholders or investors. And in fact, we're going through a seed round right now. And it's really funny. I mean, we've turned down investors left and right that have been wanted to be involved with us simply because, we know in their interest, it's purely about funds. Our investors completely believe in our mission, completely believe in what we want to do. They think it'll change the world. We think so as well. We're being bold. We're making the claim that our platforms, if you're using them, will make more millionaires than the real estate market did in the U.S. So, bold claims, but we believe we can do it.
Awesome. From a functionality standpoint, is it going to be something where people can just go to like bumpsearch.com, or is it a Chrome extension? Do you want to create like a whole browser experience for this, or build it into an Apple TV or an Xbox or PlayStation? Like how would people be able to access and search through Bump?
Yeah, I mean, to to give you an example and just sharing my screen really quick here, like this is kind of what the platform looks like as of right now. We're literally in the process of activating and moving all the code over. We launch mid-October, so it's pretty wild, but you can switch between paid and private. On desktop, it's you're just going to our browser, but it's really simple. Just performing a search to give you an example. Really easy on what it looks like, straight to the point. No bullshit, all that type of stuff. You don't have a million things spammed and thrown across you. So easy. You can switch again and know, oh, now I want to search privately versus paid. There's no opening weird windows, anything like that. So, and then you have obviously the data section, where you can look at the data and say, oh, here's the questions I've asked, and this is just a quick baseline example, right? And obviously your account, where you can go and see all kinds of different stuff and what the earnings are and all that. But,
hey guys, quick message from our sponsor, Nitro Betting. Nitro Betting takes your desire for anonymity seriously and allows you to play without the need to worry about identity checks and personal information. It's a betting site, not an investment site, so you should be able to just have fun. As a top trusted Bitcoin betting site, Nitro Betting has truly got your back. Now, back to the episode, guys.
As of right now, desktop, you're just going, into bumpsearch.com and being able to look at it. Android and iOS, it'll actually be its own mobile app and downloadable and have a, very similar feel, and UI. So it's a really, really easy system. It's easy to get a hold of, easy to be able to access. In the long term, 100%, we're going to be on, Apple TVs and smart TVs as a standalone app, just especially with our social function. People will be blown away on what we can do with that, and how that's going to be used. So you'll be able to be, doing 4K live streaming to the masses, which, Thursday Night Football couldn't even do that with the NFL, but we have partners that, will enable us to be able to go and do those types of things. So it's really cool. It's really, we're hoping to be an ecosystem that's for the user, and cares, for the user as well. And, we have stuff that sets us apart that's really unique. We have MIC, that's our AI. It stands for Machine Intelligence Core, but MIC for short. But like even on your search, for example, MIC is going to look at your demographic data you put in, and under your demographic data, it's going to ask you like, what are your interests? So if you say, hey, I'm interested in mountain biking and I'm interested in world politics, right? MIC then goes out on the internet, finds relevant articles, finds relevant news, and provides you this awesome news synopsis with all the links to those articles every single day, fresh, right? And then on top of that, it goes and brings it in and says, what are the new products out in the marketplace, right? Across the world that are relevant to your interests that you might be interested in. And then it pulls those things. So it's always keeping you in the know with brand new daily briefings that are really, really cool.
In terms of like integrations, I know that you mentioned earlier, potentially having Web3 based integrations. Is there anything in the pipeline to maybe add in a wallet type of support or other kinds of Web3 apps?
Yeah. So right now you get paid out in USD, right? But very quickly, shortly after launch, you'll be able to be attaching a crypto wallet, be paid out in crypto. We have a unique element of secure verification. It's amazing, right? We're the future of tech, Web3 of tech. And the message we went to the masses was write down a 12-word passphrase on paper or memorize it and throw it in a safe. To me, that sounds like, man, did we just go back to the 1800s and let's hop on, a Wells Fargo carriage and haul our chest of gold somewhere? Like it sounds so opposite of what the future should be. So, our wallet integration is going to be more off of facial identification, recognition, two-step verification, because, let's cut the bullshit, right? If Web3 is to grow, which it will, right? If AI is to grow, which it will, you have to have the masses participate. And one thing that I have always operated on and drilled into my head, and I drill into everybody at Bump's head, is a confused mind says no. Right? And Web3 did a great example of confusing the masses initially. And we were going so fast and everyone's trying to come out with really cool things. And that's awesome, right? That's innovation. But now full circle coming back and saying, how do we get the masses on? And so we're looking at it as saying, how do we create a wallet? How do we build a wallet that is effortless to use? You don't need to do all these weird connections. You don't need to do all these things. It's natively built in. It operates off of facial recognition and basic, two-step stuff. Plenty secure. And that can bring the masses on. And when you have the masses on, I mean, we talk to PE and VC firms, and I mean, there's $1 trillion sitting on the sideline right now. And, mostly because, one, not enough regulation, which we all have our own opinions about that, right? Is regulation good to begin with? Or, how much regulation is good to begin with? Is there any standardization, whatever that may be? But that's one element. But the other element is that, a confused mind says no. And, we go to Web3 shows and stuff all the time. And it blows my mind when we walk the shows and see so many companies that, they're trying to create the next coolest thing, but it's incredibly complicated. And when we talk to people come up to us, regular people, non-Web3 people, right? We were in Sarasota, Florida, and we had a team meeting. The whole team was down there. And, I'm sitting there and I'm in a tiny little art gallery, maybe like 100 square foot space, 200 square foot space, right? Essentially 2 bedrooms, right? And, I'm just talking to the lady, and I noticed there's a video wall, and, they're displaying NFTs. And so, we started talking, like, wow, that's really cool that you're doing that, right? You're ahead of the game. You're bringing on the next, emerging tech and doing some things. And she asked what we were doing. As I'm talking about this, as I'm explaining, here's a bump, here's how it's going to integrate into Web3, here's some of the crazy things we're doing. In this 200 square foot space, like, it was shoulder to shoulder filled with people. And these weren't Web3 people. These were regular Web2 people that are like, wow, this is incredible. This would be so much fun. I would get into it if I had something like this, right? Because it's easy, it's not confusing, and it allows me to have a fun experience, right? So, we're trying to merge it all together. And so that's, and it's amazing, right? Every single one of them was asking for my phone number because, we didn't have a place to point them to sign up and do a pre-sign up. So literally, all these random people are getting my, phone number, and we're texting them like, yeah, I'll let you know when it's going to be launched. Right. And it'll be like, I don't know, 80 people, in this tiny space. But it just proves our point, and we get proved, by it every single day, whether we're in an Uber and we're talking, to the driver, and the driver's like, how do I sign up? This sounds awesome. People want to be involved. They want to get into this space, but it's complicated for a lot of people, right? So we said, all right, let's make this uncomplicated. Let's marriage, and join all the best of each thing, right? So there's really good things about Web 2. There's amazing things about Web 3. There's unique things about AI, right? How do we bring all of this in together to be easy to use and structured in a way that supports daily interactions, right? Because we want to have daily interactions with hundreds of millions of people in this market. We want a lot of these platforms, right? Like Bored Apes or, other NFT projects out there, for their art to actually be worth something. And I'm not saying it's not now, but man, if you had the mass market adopting it and participating in it, I always tell people, if you almost everyone has a TV, in their living room, front and center, whether they have a fireplace there or not, it's above it or whatever. But instead of going and buying, a cool looking picture frame at Target, I can go and I can buy a unique NFT and display it on my TV. And when I'm bored with it, I can sell it and maybe get at least what I paid for, if not more, because it's unique and it's collectible. Whereas, you buy something at Target, when you're bored with it, it goes in the trash, right? So there's just a lot more that I think it can do. I think, bringing community together is really huge, and our social aspect does a really good job of that. And there's a lot of Web3 integrations, that we can do. And I think that when that comes into play and is active, that's going to be really interesting. because you're going to have NFT capabilities, different stuff like that, but it's going to be unique in that it's not going to feel like Web3. It's going to feel like Web2. It's going to feel very normal, very easy, very simple, because again, our goal is to onboard and bring, hundreds of millions, billions of people into the next generation of internet, search, and community, which is what we solve.
Yeah, that's been the real crux, I think, of Web3 is that lack of user interface, that simplicity that you get with Web2 still. Like there's great tech across Web3. I'm sure, you guys know that very well. And for people like us, it's easy to navigate because we're familiar with it. But for most people in the world, it's like, oh, I got to sign up for this and I got to protect this seed phrase and I got to connect this wallet and I got to figure out what this application is and how to use it. Whereas, it's so much simpler to just send a basic email or to go to Google search and just type in what you want, or that hasn't really translated well to Web3 yet. And it's, I think, the one thing that holds it back more than anything, more than institutional adoption or capital inflows or all these things. It's, making it simple for people. In terms of, other integrations potentially for Bump, like I think what makes Google work so well is all the other features that it offers, like being able to have an email or G Suite and be able to have your Excel files and web documents there, having cloud storage. I know they're integrating AI features as well. Like they have like this all-in-one stop shop, and then it's built into Chrome browser, and it's like super easy for people to utilize and have access to, install in one place, and they don't really have to go to all these different places. Do you imagine Bump kind of emerging into something like that in the future, where maybe it could also be a standalone browser? Maybe there could be an email attached to Bump. Maybe there could be some cloud storage. Like, do you want to take it that direction as well, or do you just want to tackle the search aspects?
As of right now, that's not on our horizon to like really focus on. Google performs exceptionally well at that. And we utilize, Google G Suite. It's not like, we're not here to trash on Google, right? Google does a lot of things really well. And what's really nice is being able to use our, search engine within Google Chrome still allows you to maintain all of those amazing features that Google has, but have the Bump experience of control of your digital, life, right? In terms of search, and being paid or being able to browse privately. So, we almost complement Google in that way. And then in terms of social, like we really plan to challenge YouTube and all the TikTok and Ticketmaster and all the big dogs out there. They're going to be turning their heads and go, whoa, what is this? And it's pretty wild on what we've already, began working on and coding and what's going to be coming out. It's going to be crazy. Any creator out there, if you're not on our platform, I mean, you're going to fall so far behind so quick. It's crazy. And it's not going to be, like you didn't get on TikTok soon enough. Like you're going to really lose out on a lot of monetization that you would be able to have. If you want to be an influencer, if you want to, have control of your community and make this a livelihood, Bump Social and Bump Search are the platform you're going to want to be on. Because we are not going to handcuff you. We're not going to hold you hostage. We're not going to do all these things that, you typically get from all these other big players, right? And that's because they're in the business of making a ton of money and they have a ton of shareholders to answer to. We're fortunate enough that, we want to make money. Don't get us wrong. Every company needs to make money. But we're a little bit more reasonable and we want to be able to flip most of it back to the user, right? Whereas right now, like if you look at YouTube, they take anywhere from 40 to 70%, depending on, what the ad is, or if it's short versus a long form video and so on and so forth. We flip 90% plus back to the creator. With our ticketing options where, you can actually create live streams that are gated and paid for or free, or buy actual in real life tickets to events. You keep 100% of the profits. It'll be
right.
very, very different and very unique. And, for us, we want to be laser focused on those two areas and have our users be the happiest people on earth. Right. And, we did a lot of roundtables, in a lot of focus groups with both Web3 users, Web2 users, influencers, and overwhelmingly, it wasn't, I want a crazy free feature-rich platform. What they wanted was control, simplicity, ease of use, and be able to connect. And so in all of our design and all of the things that we are doing, we are always keeping those in mind.
From an advertising perspective, if you're an advertiser, are you able to advertise directly onto Bump's platform, or do you pull from like AdWords or something, or like how would it work?
Yeah.
Like if you want
to. So we can pull from AdWords, and like we can pull from different advertising companies that, layer in UI to be able to display ads, but you can easily directly advertise on our platform. Really simple and easy, just get in touch with us. There's a bunch of different things we can do. We have all the, same metrics that showcase impressions and clicks and all that type of stuff that Google and everybody else has. But, our advertising is way cheaper than, your other competitors out there. You're getting probably double, if not triple, the reach and impressions that you would, on Google, compared to us. You get a lot more. For a lower price. And, the rationale and reasoning for it is again, we want to help brands grow. We want to help, really cool products get out into the marketplace. Right. So we're building out all kinds of, ad features where, anyone can log in and actually create their own ad. As of right now, we want people, to get in contact with us just because we want to be able to make sure, one, the ad's relevant, because, our user, like, we don't want our user to be spammed 10 times with ads to be pushed down their throat. We want the ad to be really, really relevant to where that user would actually be really interested in the product and really interested in engaging, right? Because a brand's no different than an influencer. How do you engage with your consumer, right? Right now, so many brands in the marketing meetings, and I've consulted huge brands, and most of the meeting isn't even around the consumer. It's how many impressions, how many click-throughs did we get? What was the conversion rate? I sit there and I think, man, that's so backwards, right? That's so backwards. If I'm a marketer, you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about my relationship with you, the consumer, right? And how we're making that really awesome. I don't want to sit there and have to talk about how many times you clicked to make a sale, right? I want to make really cool stuff. And I want to engage with you, the consumer, and have a really awesome relationship. That's what I care about. We help make that happen and facilitate that, right? And, whereas all your other platforms out there don't necessarily have that. Let us, worry about, getting you in front of people. But what you need to do is have really awesome, engaging content that's meaningful to a consumer, right? And create really good products that are meaningful to a consumer. And that's the type of partner we want to have advertising.
Yeah, as a user, like I don't mind being showed ads as long as it's something that I'm interested in, right? And I think that's, the biggest problem is like with Google, once it figures out that I looked at something or I considered something, then it just starts showing me stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't want to buy that, or I'm not interested in that. I just thought it was interesting in the moment. Yeah. I don't know how many times I've gone on social media, onto Instagram or TikTok, and I saw a video that was interesting for a minute, and then all of a sudden that's all I see the rest of the day. And I'm like, come on. So there's a lot of value in being able to provide that data and tell an advertiser, look, this is what I really like. This is what I'm really interested in. If you're going to show me something, please show me these things. And then it's great for an advertiser because they're going to get a higher click-through rate for people that are interested, because they're going to be able to target directly.
Because we're taking out the guesswork, right? Yeah. We're asking you, like, what are you interested in? Are you interested in cryptocurrency? Are you interested in mountain biking? Are you interested in politics, travel, we want to know what you're interested in. And, that's what ads are going to be more targeted, towards. And, they'll also be more targeted towards a combination of what you're interested in and, how you're interacting on the internet, right? What you're searching. It's a combination, versus right now, everything is just about what you search. And maybe you searched, where's the nearest Subway? Well, I don't want to see ads for the next 10 days for Subway. I don't care about that. That seems so stupid. So, we're trying to say, how do we create an experience that, to a user, one, by putting in their data, you're getting advertisers on the platform that are wanting to advertise. And now these users are getting paid for it, right? So they're benefiting off of that right away. But the really cool part is that when they're looking at the advertisement, it doesn't feel like an advertisement. It feels like, wow, this platform is connecting with partners that actually care about what I think and what my interests are. And that's really significant, really huge.
And I think what you guys are doing is great, because you guys are giving people that option too. It's not like that option's been readily available through many different platforms for people. Obviously that's why we've had so many issues with data privacy and data being sold behind our back and not really knowing. So it's better to incentivize the end user and advertisers and give them, more targeted opportunities, more targeted users. What's up on your guys' roadmap for Bump? What's next in terms of rolling this out, features, partnerships, rest of?
Oh yeah. So we launch mid-October with our MVP, which is baseline search engine. Shortly following after that, is the blockchain crypto integration, as well as the MIC integration, which provides that really cool, uniquely daily feed. And so that's going to be really interesting. It's going to, present a very different experience on the web that anyone's seen yet. It's going to be very unique. And that's going to go into play. From there, we're already coding, already working on our social platform, which talks and integrates with Bump Search. That's going to be coming out, probably Q1 of next year. So that'll be really interesting, but really looking for, partnerships. We're looking to get, obviously, our name out there. We're a startup company, right? We're bootstrapping. We aren't interested in taking on, $10 million of VC money and have VC, control all the different stuff that's happening. I mean, you're even seeing that in some of the biggest, NFT projects in the space right now that VC's in there. If you've been around long enough, you can very clearly see where priorities are aligned. So it's very interesting, so for us, we want exposure. We want to get out. We want to let people know we exist. We want Web3 users to come on, be our beta users, help us continue to tweak, make it even better, grow the platform, and bring the entire Web2 audience into the next generation of web. So, that's a lot of what we're doing. In terms of the social aspect, we're looking for launch partners, obviously. If you're a creator, being a launch partner with us, man, it's going to get you some awesome, crazy benefits, that you wouldn't get, coming in later on in the game. So we definitely want to reward the early people that join Bump Search and Bump Social. So, there's some really cool perks and things that are going to be coming along within those lines and avenues. So that's, some of the big stuff, we're pushing and working on. And then obviously, we want advertisers, we want people that, want to be part of this journey and have a relationship with their consumer versus worrying about click rate. We want brands like that. If you're a brand like that, we want you to come and advertise and be on our platform. If you just want to deal with really crappy conversion rates and click rates, stay on Google, stay on Brave.
Where can people go to check it out? If they want to get in contact with you guys, maybe they're an advertiser, maybe they're a user.
Yeah. Bumpsearch.com. That has our main site on there. You can, sign up, pre-sign up. There's, ways to contact us, on the website itself. And then, we'll keep you apprised of when everything officially launches and all of that type of stuff. So yeah, easy to do. Otherwise, your other social channels, obviously, we're on X, we're on LinkedIn and all the traditional stuff too. But, we don't put too much effort and time to those, not going to lie, because why would you be on those when Bump Social comes out? So we're not going to waste time trying to build those, because Bump Social is going to completely change the game.
Awesome. And if anyone wants to reach out to you guys directly, are you guys on LinkedIn? Are you guys on socials or?
Yeah. We're on LinkedIn and on socials as well. At X, as well as LinkedIn probably is the two best ways. Obviously we're on, WhatsApp and Telegram and all that stuff too, but.
Awesome. If you go to LinkedIn and look at our company profile, you can find my name, and I'm usually always active on there. If you want to reach out. Guys,
thank you for taking the time to come on. Really do appreciate it, for sharing what you guys are working on with Bump. I think it's a fantastic platform and innovation to have, in terms of search and giving a little power back to the actual user in terms of their data, integrating privacy, integrating, potential Web3 applications, all these different things you're doing. So I imagine you guys will have a lot of success here in the near future, and thank you guys for sharing.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us, Brandon. We're excited. We're really pumped to be a product for the users, right? That's one of our missions is user first. So that's something we've always believed in and something we're going to always push for.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brandon. And maybe in a month from now, after launch, we have some more stuff to talk about. We'll get back on here with you.
Absolutely. Sounds great, guys. Take care. We'll talk soon. Final message from our sponsor, Nitro Betting. Nitro Betting gives you so many options to bet, wager, play with a deep sports book from NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, MMA, to motorsports, poker, blackjack, esports, Rocket League, Call of Duty, you name it. There's plenty of diversity and choice. So go to nitrobetting.eu to experience everything they have to offer. All links are in the description for the episode, and see you guys on the next one.